Hey, folks, welcome back to Actual Play. Tonight, I'm your Lore Master, and we're playing The One Ring by Free League. And you joined us at a great time. We're starting Chapter 2, The Road to Bree. We finished up a complete game cycle from the adventuring phase. We touched on journeys, audiences, some combat, and then we wound up with the fellowship phase last session. So all our channel proceeds are split between the Black Lives Matter and the Translegal Defense Fund and Education Fund. Tonight, we have Heidi, Jeremiah, and Rich. You guys have any highlights from our first 5 sessions you want to talk about? Anything that stuck out as a favorite for you? Nothing stuck out for you?
I'm trying to run. I remember last session well, but then before that, it gets fuzzier.
Right.
I'm trying to go back over my notes and try to remember.
I thought it was a very atmospheric and spooky moment when we found Helith's body. I thought that was pretty emotional, and
I definitely wasn't expecting that. I was
Tragic.
expecting we would like meet up with her and have an adventure. And nope.
Right.
Now that I think about it, I think the twist of we ran across this guy in the wilderness that said he's looking for somebody, and we're like, okay, cool, you seem trustworthy. We're going that way, and he went that way, and then we find out he's the guy we're chasing.
I wouldn't say he seemed trustworthy.
Well,
he just seemed useless.
Yeah, he didn't seem like a person of interest.
Right. What's tricky for me, I remember putting that together, and there's 100 different things you could do as a GM, right? But my thought was, I'm just going to put it out there, and whatever they do, however it falls out, is how it falls out. Yeah. So it's very possible that you shake him down a little further, right? Yeah. And you find out, right? And we just run with that. That's where it's at.
I think I don't remember if there was specifically a conversation with him, but I know there were conversations with other people. Whereas we're talking with them, somebody would make like a riddle check to kind of like, and those rolls were failing a lot of the times. Like with those two bandit guys we originally had, they're kind of hedging their answers, and it turns out they weren't even in the gang yet. They're just.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we may have had that moment with him on the road of like, we failed that roll, and we're like, oh well, he just doesn't. We just don't know what interesting things we could learn, and then it turns out, oh, that's the guy.
Yeah, that's the guy. That's funny. Anything for you, Heidi?
Every short joke at the expense of our dwarf. Just highlight moments.
Nice.
Once per session.
All right, so tonight we are leaving Rivendell, and the Fellowship has decided to go to Bree. Let's talk about why you're going to Bree, so we're all clear, or at least so I know why you're going to Bree.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe we heard some rumors about that Marin was most likely to go to Bree, and we are therefore following in his trail in hopes of finding him.
That is correct.
What Nindor, it's what Nindor understands.
That is correct. And we did that last session. I don't remember if we did all that on camera or off stream.
No, I think that's where we finished, because we did that as part of the fellowship phase to gather rumors or whatever it was. So is the question you're kind of asking more about like why each character specifically wants to do this? Because like we didn't get a directive from Círdan to do it. He was way more interested in the shiny orb thing. So we're just sort of free agents at the moment, and we've all agreed to do this, but I think it makes sense that we might have a variety of reasons to do it, I guess.
Right.
I guess if I'm being honest, I'm real curious about the sword this guy supposedly has. As a seeker of forgotten things and treasure that people might have. So like coming at it from that angle, like recovering that
Right.
is of interest to me as Farron.
Even though it's, well, I think we know it's a fell weapon.
Oh, it sounds real bad. Yeah, I don't know that that's like. I don't think I'm not far enough gone to think like I want this for myself. I think it's more of a like. This is an interesting artifact in the world that
Right.
someone like Gorlink shouldn't have.
Right.
But I want to see it.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I like that.
I think Daphne is concerned that like this guy has had followers before. I don't know if he still does or if they have all disbanded after the whole I want to call it a mine, but it's not a mine incident. So I think Daphne is concerned he's recollecting followers in Bree now and is going to then take them and venture out. So she is people oriented.
Nice. Yeah. And I think from the rumors, that's one of the things we got is that he operates out of Bree, and most of the folks that he recruited came from Bree, and it seems like that's where he's returning to. So that is solid.
To Nindor, it's simply a matter of this is an evil sorcerer who can bring about, who carries a fell weapon and could lead more humans or unwitting or even complicit but redeemable people to evil acts. So he must be stopped.
Fighting a good fight. I like it.
I think there's also some amount of like even though Kieran didn't say, "Hey, go do this," like it feels a little like an unspoken thing of like we should find out why he wanted this orb and get that information for Kieran, because there might be more going on.
Right. Any excuse me, any last minute preparations, anything you want to do in Rivendell before we set out?
I don't think so. Although I want to, I think I remember reading as part of whatever the down phase is called, the fellowship phase. I think you can use that as an opportunity to change your traveling gear.
Yes.
So whatever people have, I don't know, but like it's probably a good opportunity to look at that and think about is that what you still want? Do you want to change anything? That sort of thing.
No, that's fair. That's good. And yeah, we certainly do that. You can certainly do that. I think among your preparations, packing, getting things ready, Perry, I think Perry approaches Nindor. We remember Perry. He was one of the wounded Bremen from Session 1, Episode 1. He is, I'd say he's 80%, right? Repaired, healed, good. He's probably always going to carry some amount of a scar, some amount of ache with him, right? But he says, hey, I understand you're traveling back to Bree. I would like to travel with you. I could leave early. I was going to leave later, but if you're headed that way, I'm assuming you're traveling with an entourage or caravan. numbers are safe, I'd rather travel with you.
I'm sure that can be arranged. I'll speak with the rest of my fellowship to take care of the details. It'll be good for you to go home.
I've been away too long. And if it's okay, Ronell, another person from Bria I met here, if it's not too much trouble, he'd like to go home too. And we just feel it's safer if we travel with you.
I understand and agree, but if we run into danger, you will need to do as we say, without hesitation.
I can do that. And
Very
we'll share a pony, so we can carry our own stuff. We won't be in any trouble.
What is your pony named?
Barrett.
Barrett.
Ooh, that was good. I had pulled that out my butt. Barrett.
That's impressive. That felt pony-like.
You just need to keep a page of notes in your back pocket for animal names, because
Animal names.
you know it's going to come up.
And it makes Heidi happy.
I mean, I think it makes Daphne happy. I don't know. Maybe Heidi's just doesn't like animals.
Yeah, it just makes me angry personally, but Daphne's happy, so you know.
That was nice. You caught me with that. I didn't expect you to ask me my horse's name, so nice. I had to run with that.
You did great. I had no idea. If you hadn't outed yourself, I would have been like, man, he's Johnny on the spot.
Nice. And so, yes, those two, Ronell and Perry, I think they already have their gear packed. They weren't supposed to leave for another 2-3 weeks, maybe into fall, just before winter. But they're homesick. They're ready to be back in Bree. Rivendell is nice, but they're Breemen.
It's not home.
Right, it's not home. We can begin the journey anytime you are ready. Boom. So what I've done here is, I can do this. Yes. And then I think I can zoom in on this. I've started with, they're not really legs, but rather than put out all the hexes all the way across, what I'll do here is, we'll start in Riverdale, right? We know it's 120 miles to the last bridge. And so that is the first 6 hexes here, right? 1 through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. And then once we're here, right, I know how much it is to get through the Lonely Lands. And we'll just kind of break it up that way as we move along, rather than clutter the screen with all the hexes. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think we just got to divide up tasks. I think for some of these, Perry and Ronell can help, but probably not all of them. They're not adventurers, but they do have some skills.
Oh, interesting.
Can you remind me? So there's this little like mini game that is travel.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember much beyond that, to be honest.
So we're going to decide what the roles are. There are 4, and we have to fill them. There's the guide, who's in charge of all decisions concerning route, rest, and supplies.
Good.
There's the hunter, who's in charge of finding food in the wild. There is the lookout, who's in charge of keeping watch. And then the scout, who's in charge of setting up camp and opening new trails.
I'll call dibs on the guide because it mostly involves using travel. So I'm good at that.
I have 2 in hunting, so unless someone's bested me in that, Daphne will kill the small animals. Or find berries, either way.
Nice.
I'm trying to look out and scout what skills they test.
If you look at page 13, there's an event table thing, and it'll show you the skills that you'll be using for those roles.
Wow, I was way up on 112 where it talks about the breakup.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Are you
For
saying that it's
scouts,
not organized in a very helpful way? Okay.
For Scout, it's craft and explore.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not super crafty or exploring.
and one of it, and I have both of those skills, so I'm happy to double up to be the scout if you want to be the lookout, because I have craft and explore, and craft is favored. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you should
I'm happy
pull
to-
double duty.
Yeah, I can. One of us has to, right?
Right, somebody has to. Yeah.
So
I do have craft and explore, but they're nowhere near where yours is. I'll go with lookout then, I guess.
cool. So I'll be. Oh, there's Perry. So I'll be the guide/scout.
It is the autumn.
Oh no!
Yes.
Chilly.
So,
Chilly.
yes, that means fatigue points a little higher for events, and we'll talk about that as we go through this. So, so what time of day are we setting out from Rivendell?
Well, Nindor would lobby to leave as early
First
in the
thing,
morning
right?
as possible,
Yeah.
before or first light, if at all possible.
Yeah, I think Daphne has adventure excitement and so has woken up earlier than even planned and is bustling around getting everything ready and getting everyone ready and asking if everyone remembered to pack their pajamas and their fuzzy slippers and, priorities.
Giving the ponies a
Nice.
thorough brushing down.
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
Packing plenty of apples and carrots.
I think Perry and Ronell are up as in not to be left behind, ready to go, right? And so they are ready when you are ready. We begin with the guide. I think the guide makes the first test because that determines when the first event occurs.
So you said they have a pony, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, because as the guide, I can use the ponies to give my dice a boost. So we know the route, but like at a zoomed out level, I'm wanting to know like where the more treacherous parts are, so that I can plan ahead and be like, maybe I'll try to make use of the ponies there. So
Right.
like, from here to the last bridge versus like the last bridge to Weathertop versus like where might be the most
Sure. So
perilous kind of.
Rivendell to the last bridge, the road is solid, right? You have forests on either side, but the road travels straight through there. Your biggest problem is trolls, right? That is it. The road becomes treacherous, but it's still, you won't lose sight of it as you travel through the Lone Lands, right? The way is hard and rough when you get to the Weather Hills.
Okay. Because I'm wondering, because I know that there are types of regions that'll affect your event roll.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, like, where are we going through any? I assume we're not going through any Darklands.
No. So the Weather Hills will affect your event roll.
Okay.
Everyone else. Yeah. So there's only 3 types. There's the Borderlands, which I think is a straight up normal roll.
Yep.
There is.
Then there's the Wildland.
Some may have that backwards. I think the Borderlands are favored.
Yeah.
The Wildlands are even up, and the Darklands are ill favored.
Yeah.
So Rivendell to the last bridge is Borderland, so it'll be a favored roll.
Perfect.
The Lone Land through the Weather Hills are the Wilds. And then by the time you get into Bree, you're back to Borderlands, which is
Okay.
favored.
Cool. So I'm just not going to worry about the ponies for now. Perfect. Okay. So it's just a straight up travel roll, right?
Right.
Okay. Which is favored.
Oh, nice.
So, yep. So it's just a straight success.
All right. So that occurs 3 hexes.
Yeah.
Away. So 1, 2, 3 is our first event.
Nice.
Dun, 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 dun. And so I think we have a travel montage of maybe a day or two of the Fellowship moving through out of Rivendell, across the river there, finding that east road, and then moving through the forest of the Trollshaws. I think maybe we see Farron taking stock of Perry and Ronell as you're moving through and thinking about that troll and that log across the road.
Oh, I remember.
Yes. And thinking about how that might go down, right? If that's still a thing. So this first event is Farron trying to decide, do we deviate now, right? Or do we stay on the road? What do I do about this possible troll trap up ahead?
Okay.
So for the guide, this test can be a travel test or lore test. I think this is open enough. I'll take either one.
Yeah.
Everyone still, I think, is taking 3 fatigue points.
Oh, okay. So this is one of the. So this is something from the table. Okay.
Yeah.
So we take 3 fatigue points regardless. Okay.
Yeah, regardless, yes.
Is there a spot for tracking that?
They're supposed to be on the fellowship sheet, but there is no fellowship sheet. So.
Oh, so it's not an individual. It's for the group.
No, it's still per person.
Yes, per person.
Why is it on the fellowship sheet?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because it only comes up during the journey.
Okay.
Well, no, that doesn't make sense either.
Well, it might, because I think on the fellowship sheet, there's actually there's like a whole little section of like a journey section. So you'll fill out a little thing of like who's the guide, who's the scout. So you're kind of like tracking journey stuff on that sheet. So I think it's a little bit of that it only really comes up during journeys, but yeah, it's also like my question was, since we're actually kind of getting fatigue, is like the game is kind of, or at least the alpha rules are a little vague about what they do. It says something about it reduces your carrying capacity, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so I think it doesn't reduce your endurance, but I think it acts as a negative against the load, and maybe you're adding it on top of the load, right? I think see in here, it's at the end of the journey when it comes up, where you resolve how much fatigue you have left over.
Yeah.
Right. And you carry some of that.
You can't get rid of it until after a journey's over.
Right.
Yeah, it says it lowers your carrying capacity and ability to function, but it doesn't say what that means mechanically.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess adding it to load sort of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, I found a different spot. It raises the load total temporarily, making it easier for them to become weary with a capital W.
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah, and I guess the reason you track it separately is because recovering like endurance and load-based stuff is easier than fatigue.
Right.
Okay. So we had 3. Oh, that's fine. I got a little ways to go. Okay, so yeah, I'll make a, and it actually does say with for when there's like 2 options to roll, it's up to the player. So
okay, cool.
So yes, I will be rolling travel.
All right, cool. I was trying to find who decides, right? And or is it decided by the fiction, right? And cool. I'm glad you found that because that was up in the air for me.
Nope, that's not. Oh gosh, what did I do? Okay, so another travel roll. So you said this is me kind of thinking ahead, remembering the fallen tree that seemed to be a troll trap. Okay.
Right. And are there? I mean, did they move the trap? Are there different traps? Right.
Right.
Because right? This is a thing.
This is just what they do. Yeah.
Right. Because it happened to you.
That looks like a fail. So that's only a 14.
Ooh. All right. So it says all targets, but this is a guide thing. So all the guides, if there were multiple guides, they gain 1 shadow point. So you will gain 1 shadow point.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming you can test against that. I think there are very few things you can't test.
Okay. Well, I may as well try.
Yeah.
Now that I have 2 wisdom. So 2 of these are these. Nice. I got a Gandalf, so no shadow.
That's perfect. That's awesome.
Okay.
So I think as we move along, right, as you're moving along through the forest, you see some different things that look like. I think you're spooked, right? It's second guessing where the traps or the trolls might be. And I think at one point, maybe you're a little bit away from everyone else as you're the guide, and you see something that disturbs you, something that earns you this shadow check, right?
Oh, okay.
I think you see signs of an orc party, right? You don't see actual orcs, right? But I think you see signs, maybe the way some of the wood is cut into. Go ahead, you were going to say something, Nindo?
It's like some solo cups. Maybe like a label off of a beer bottle.
Those are the wrong kind of orcs, man. But yes,
orc party.
Yes, I think you see signs of an orc party.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
And then it's up to you what you do with that information.
I mean, I would definitely let. I think I would mention it to Nindor and Daphne, but not
right.
Perry and the other guy, especially Nindor, since he's our lookout or whatever.
Right.
The lookout. But yeah, I'm not gonna burden the NPCs with that knowledge.
Good. That is good. I think this far in also we learned that Perry is good with cooking. Nice. And he's got maybe, I would say a flute, but some type of woodwind instrument that he plays in the evening, right? As whatever you bring in, right? He figures out a way to make something scrumptious out of it, whatever you bring in, right? He sees it as kind of a challenge, right? What can I do with this, right? So that's Perry.
That's got to be good for morale. Having a nice meal.
So at this juncture, we're probably halfway to the last bridge. You'll make your next travel roll as the guide.
If I can get enough successes, I can go even further.
Yes.
That's what I keep hoping I'll get some 6s on one of these so we can
jump.
Yeah. So I would take the 10. So 18. Yeah, that does it. So three hexes again.
All right. And that brings us exactly to the last bridge, right? As we cross the river there when our next event happens. So what I have done is I've selected who the next event's target, but I have not selected what that event is. So this is a hunter event.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, dun, dun, dun. And so I will randomly roll to figure out what the event is.
And so, rules understanding wise, since this is, you said this is considered Borderlands.
Yes, we're still.
So you would roll. So you would roll 2 and select the best. Is that how that works?
Yes.
Okay.
And in fact, let's have the hunter make that roll because I'm lazy.
Oh, there you go.
So what am I rolling?
You're going to roll 2d12 and select the best. High, yeah, well, high is good. High is better. I think I like this way.
Isn't 11 better?
No, you want the 8.
Yeah, you want the 8.
Okay, I'll go with the 8.
Otherwise, we're going to have to start talking about the Eye of Sauron. Since that's a thing now. Okay, cool. So everyone will get 2 fatigue points. That's weird. So I'm having improv. So I'm stuck, but I think I got it. Yeah, I think I got it. So I think this particular day at the last bridge, Daphne is doing the hunting. And I think maybe the last day or two, it's been coming up kind of sparse a little bit, right? Everyone's eating, right? So no one's hungry, but it hasn't been plentiful. We've had to think about how we eat and what we're eating. We're not rationing yet, but we're probably a step away from that. Does that make sense? So I think this roll for the hunter, we'll make that roll, and then I will tell you what happened. But it's about trying to fill out stores as we enter the Lone Lands. Does that make sense? Because we don't want to, we don't want to have to be. We know we're about to head into some hard territory, some rough lands, and the eating might not be so great.
Okay, so I'm assuming this is a hunting roll.
You get to choose athletics or hunting.
Is it a favored role regardless of what I have as my favored roles because of our location, or no?
No, so the favored role was for what type of event this is. So because of the location, you're going to get, or you should get, better or less harsh events.
Got it. Okay. So I'm going to go with just hunting. We'll see how that goes. Let me... 911. Yeah, no.
All right. So I think it's it doesn't become it's status quo. It remains the same. So the pickings are right. You might have to think about your eating as you move through here. Right. We're a bad choice away from having the ration food. Does that make sense? As the GM, I will say, because I don't want you to stress about this, that's mostly color. What was going to happen is success on this roll shortens the journey for you, right? For the hunter, it's colored as there's enough food gathered so that you don't have to stop and hunt. You're able to keep moving, and that shortens the journey for you. where the guide might have actually found a shortcut. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't want you to have to start making mechanical decisions to fill your stores when that is not what's actually happening. Does that make sense?
I think, when Daphne comes back from the hunt with like just enough for the day again,
Yes.
she spins this as she hands it all off to Perry to actually make dinner. She sort of spins it as like, well, Farron, you put on a little weight in Rivendell with all the good food there, so this is really probably for the best.
Muscle. There's a lot of muscle under here. Dwarves are all core.
Nice, all core.
all those Pilates really work in that core.
When you carry a giant beard around all the time.
Off balance,
Nice.
I get it.
All right, I will get rid of this piece because we don't really need it. That was Rivendell. From here, I could just do this. What am I doing? I'm being silly. 2, 3, 4. So these or those hexes represent the trip through the Lone Lands, right? As we leave the last bridge, we move into the Wildlands, right? Certainly here, the road is more broken, but you can still see it. You can still follow it. The terrain is a little harder, right? But the ponies, the mounts will still be fine, right? It's not severe or treacherous terrain yet. And we're back to a marching roll from the guide.
Perfect. I think I'm double checking. Okay, let's double checking this ponies work. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and. Oh, okay. So they have. We all basically have ponies, right? Nobody had. They brought a pony. They didn't bring a horse.
Right, they brought a pony, not a horse.
Cool. So I basically can use each one once.
Right.
So I'll start with my pony that I call Pony, that Daphne calls Buttercup, I think. So that gives me +2 dice, which would be nice.
Nice, yeah.
Maybe I can get some 6s. Travel 2d6 and a d12. So take off 6. Oh, hello.
Oh.
So that's a success with 3 6s. So is that 6 spaces we make it before an event, I think?
Is that?
Because you get 3 for a success and then +1 for each.
For every, yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Buttercup is powerful.
Buttercup is killing. You know what? I'm going to start calling her Buttercup. She has earned a name in my book.
3, 4, 5, 6. Yes.
Man, that has to. I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know what that looks like fiction wise, because that's an amazing role.
It is. I think maybe it's the you got to go on a diet comment, right? There's not. Maybe it's the thinning of the food, but your work with the ponies, especially Buttercup, right? I think you are able to guide and hustle. I mean, that gets you straight through the Lone Lands, right? Before the next event happens, right? All the way to halfway through the Weather Hills, right? Entering the Weather Hills. So I think we see, again, Perry making the most of whatever comes in that day for food, right? And it's a mix of whatever Daphne brings back. And I think Ronell tries to be as helpful as he can. He seems to have no applicable skills to any of this stuff that we're doing, right? But he's trying, right? He doesn't want to be that person.
Yeah, I can even see it because I was rereading like the description of guide, and it talks about decisions regarding the route, rest, and supplies. So I can even imagine Farron kind of wanting to like put a hustle on through here a little bit. So instead of like I know there are specific rules for forced marching, so it's not like that. But I imagine like maybe we're not sleeping or resting quite as much because I know supplies are an issue and hunting is tough through here. So like maybe pushing everybody just a little bit harder to make some good distance.
So what you're saying is you're in a hurry to get to the next good meal in a town at an inn. That's what I'm hearing.
You know, I mean, Perry's food is fine.
That's funny. Yeah, so that gets you into the Weather Hills, and here the terrain is hard terrain, but it's still the Wilderlands. It's not Darklands. This event, what is this event? This is a scouting event. And so the so the scout will roll just a straight feat die
to see. Okay, come on.
What the event is.
Something good. Oh, that's not good. That was a 1.
Whew. You said 1, but the way the table's written, there's the I, then
yeah.
one, right?
Luckily, not the eyeball. Just a 1.
All right, so everyone's going to gain 4 fatigue points.
3.
3. Sorry, yes, 3. Yes. This is about despair. Oh, this is fantastic. Yes. Yeah, this is fantastic. So I think I like that you're the guide and the scout.
Yeah. Oh, I think I already, I don't know what I think I already know what I'm gonna roll and how I'm gonna justify it before you even say anything, but I want to see what you say first.
All right, so it looks like the consequence of your skill roll is if you fail, everybody gets a shadow point.
Right.
So again, I feel like I feel like this is a thing where Farron comes across a thing that no one else has seen yet, right?
Okay.
Right. So I think we talked about finding orc sign before.
Yeah.
Right. I think here, as we're moving through the Weathertop Hills, right? Again, we've got treacherous terrain. It's rocky. I think it's hilly, right? I think you run across a body, and I think you immediately recognize that it's Taris.
Oh.
And he's full of arrows.
That was the dude. That was the first guy we got, right? We pulled him out of the rubble.
Yeah, he's full of orc arrows.
Uh-oh. Okay. Interesting.
He's the guy who stole the pony, right?
No, that was Vin.
That was Vin, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
So,
sorry. Terrace who pulled out. That's right. Terrace is when we went back in and pulled him out.
Yeah. So I think there's a couple things that'll happen here. We're gonna make this roll. I'm gonna load it up a little bit. One is about how you deliver this or not to the rest of the fellowship, right? Because there's a shadow point on the line if you fail, right? But I think also it may determine how much life he's got left in him. Is there a conversation left in him?
Oh,
right.
Okay.
I think that's fair, rather than just leave it like it is, right? I think he's dying. I think there's nothing to be done about that.
Okay.
But he might be dead, right? Or there might be a short conversation you and him can have, right?
Interesting. Okay.
Right. And so I think that's what's on the line here more than anything else.
Well, him not being dead yet complicates.
Yes. I'm not dead yet. No, and like I said, I think he's going to die, right? And
Sure.
I put that out there. That
Okay.
there's nothing to be done about that.
Right. Okay. So I can imagine certainly, as I feel like guide and scout work relatively well together. So I'm picturing I'm out a ways in front. Like I imagine most days I kind of range out to check things out.
Right.
So yeah, I can imagine like the initial concern of checking on him, like he's not dead yet, but he will soon be.
Yeah.
Whatever he has to say, I guess. But if it's inevitable that he's gonna die,
Yeah.
my initial thought, because as the scout I can use craft or explore.
Right.
My initial thought is to use craft
Mm-hmm.
to bury the body before anybody else finds it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Because I'm thinking if they don't, like, the rest of them finding out that the guy that one of the guys we saved didn't make it, that's going to be a huge blow to the fellowship.
Yes.
So my thought is, I'm going to lie, basically,
Right.
because what could go wrong?
Right.
But like, dig a grave away from the road, or something where I can kind of properly do something with his remains. And then I think the way I'm thinking of it is failure basically means I don't do it in time, and everybody.
Right. They come, because they're moving, right?
Right.
Up to wherever you are, right?
So like there's
usually range out, come back,
Yeah.
range out. And sometimes you let them catch up to you, right?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I like that. That's perfect.
Yeah. So I can imagine initially being like maybe trying to give him some water and asking him what happened, and
Right.
Offering what comfort I can. But I think it sounds like it's pretty obvious to me that he's not long for this world, I imagine.
Right. I agree. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if he's able to, because that's probably what I would be interested in, is what happened and when, kind of a thing.
Yes. And that all depends on your role.
Oh, okay. So that sounds good.
Yes.
Okay.
If you succeed, we have a conversation. If not,
cool.
He did his disco.
Okay. So 2 plus its
Not
favorite.
that I don't like disco. I kind of like disco. I didn't mean that in a bad way.
Okay, this is strength. You can do this, Farron. Can't do it. That's only a 12.
Oh.
It was
So
real
I
close.
think,
It was real close.
yes. That's bad, because that means yes. That means yes, so that's bad. So I think he's a mess, right? When
Yeah.
you get on top of him, right? And I think he may not even know. It's his last twitch, right? The body moves, right? But he's gone, right? But I think he's bloody enough, and there's a last spasm that he reaches out for you, right? And gets blood on you, right? As you're also taking the time to bury him and put him away and that kind of thing. So I think, the rest of the fellowship gets close enough to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And you've got some of his blood on you, right? I don't think they think you murdered him, but I think it's clear you were trying to not deliver the bad news to keep the morale up. So then, in addition to the fatigue, everyone will get a shadow point. You can test that away.
I would like to try to test that away, because it is really hard for me to get rid of shadow.
The life of the elf.
That's just a wisdom check.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what my wisdom is.
I got a 12.
Oh, nice.
I'll have to look at what the starting wisdom is.
Everybody's starting wisdom was 1, but if you leveled it up during the fellowship phase, it might.
I did not.
Oh, okay.
What's my target?
Your wit's target number.
Missed it by 1.
Oh, did you miss it too, Daphne? Oh,
I tried.
all right.
I tried to protect my friends from this awful sight.
You did. You
And
did. Let's talk.
I failed.
Yes, let's talk about that. So I think the fellowship comes up behind. I think whatever the ordering is, Perry and Renault are last, right? For all kinds of reasons. But I think Nindor and Daphne can see. You've seen graves out in the wild before, so I think you see that that's what Farron was making and transferring a body to it. What do you do? And I think it doesn't even matter if you can see the body or not. I think the fact that Farron is taking the time to do this must mean it's somebody that he cares about or somebody we cares about. Well, we care about, right? It's going to have an impact on us. So you know it's somebody, not some rando. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Farron, what has happened?
I think there's probably that moment where my initial thought is to try to keep up the lie, but I realize it's not going to work. So, yeah, Farron just comes clean and says it's Terrace, the man we saved in the ruins. These are orc arrows. I don't see any evidence of the woman. Dara, I think her name was.
Yeah, Dara. Yeah, there's no evidence of her.
I don't
And
see
his
evidence of her.
his sack of jingle is gone too.
Oh, sure, yeah. I was trying to like cover my tracks a little bit. I was gonna, I'm saying like I was gonna, do what I could to give him a proper burial out here.
Don't think Nindor buys that for a second. There's just something about the way you're twitchy.
I mean, it's like 80% true.
Come, I'll help you finish the task.
It's probably this might be a good place to camp for the night.
Perhaps a little ways away.
Sure.
How's Daphne?
I think she's just quiet. Like she'll pitch in too, but a little more down than usual.
Yeah.
And Nibbles eats some clovers.
Nice. All right. We're close to the hour, and I hear my puppy hollering. Can you hear that too?
A little bit.
Oh yeah. Forgot.
Oh, wow. Sorry. So I'm going to let her out, and we'll take a 10-minute break. And then we'll wrap up this journey in the Brie. We're close. So that was pretty good.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll see everybody in about 10 minutes.